¿A dónde está papi? 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 ¿A dónde está papi?
Welcome to the Monday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Monday, and I hope everyone had a awesome weekend. Sorry about that. We definitely have a lot of things to go through, so yeah. If you guys haven't heard already, apparently there was a horrific incident that in Texas, apparently, that involved a car crashing and running over several people. Unfortunately, that did result in a lot of people dying. We have yet to find out what exactly the motivation is, but given the fact that it was attacking, like, essentially... Hold on, folks. Sorry about that. Ooh. Given the fact that it was attacking the... You're about to tell me about a new one? No. No, this is the one that just happened recently. Given the fact that it was, like, right at a migrant, like, place, I mean, it just seems... It just seems obvious what's going on there. And if the motivation ends up, or if the person who is currently charged with manslaughter is found to do this intentionally, how's it going, Wolf Glenn? I mean, there was several incidents, Wolf Glenn, so... Yeah. as well as I can expect with the news these days. It's not easy, folks. Yeah. Completely understandable. All right, folks. So I guess we'll kick the show off with one video, and I think we'll head into headlines. And folks are not talking about the debt limits. No, I mean basically the debt limit is a political football that is currently being used as an attempt to hold leverage, but the reality is, in a rational analysis, we could clearly see that what the Republicans are doing, and anything from here on out is basically the Republicans' fault. But we're not living in very rational times. But yeah, this is basically a political football that's gonna torpedo the economy. So yeah, cool, good memes ahead. The Republicans could destroy the economy. Yeah, of course. Again, just to make sure that we're all clear, in a rational analysis, we know that this is completely and solely on the Republicans, 100%. But yeah, this is currently being used as a political football, which can inadvertently torpedo the economy. So yeah, that's some good memes ahead. Good memes ahead. They will. Oh yeah, and then they will try to attempt to then say it's like the Democrats' fault or whatever. Like while actual working class people suffer, they will attempt to use this as a political football or bludgeon. How's it going, Michael Hassler? Thoughts and prayers for the economy. True. All right, never mind. I lied. We have 2 videos to go through.
Folks, we have to start my campaign off strong by donating.
All right. I got both videos queued up. Let's go. Let's do some slightly, I don't know what to say. So not as doom and gloom.
For the last week or so, the group Media Matters for America.
Life continued. I don't know what that means. Life continued in reference to?
Has been releasing a series that they're calling Fox Leaks, which is material and information from Fox News that Fox did not want you to see. Specifically, it includes multiple videos of Tucker Carlson, which, as we all know, includes the video of Tucker Carlson trashing the Fox Nation streaming app, saying nobody watches it, it's a horrible app, the website doesn't work, and Fox has finally gotten pissed. Fox is at the...
I mean, like, yeah, one of the reasons why they canned him is because he was just making disparage. Clearly, like it wasn't because of, like, the racism, the xenophobia, like his white power hour every show. No, that's perfectly fine and dandy by Fox, but apparently when you criticize the CEOs or whatever, that's where they drew the line there.
Point where they have now had their lawyers send a cease and desist letter to Media Matters telling them, we own that footage, you can't put it out there because it's our intellectual property. Let me read you this letter.
Yeah. Fair use, my guy. Fair use.
Again, this is from Fox's legal counsel to Media Matters President Angelo Carusone. My apologies if I'm getting that name incorrect. But anyway, dear Mr. Carusone, we write on behalf of Fox Corporation to clarify any misunderstandings Media Matters may have had regarding previously unaired footage that Media Matters has published in a series of articles headlined Fox Leaks. That unaired footage is Fox's confidential intellectual property. Fox did not consent to its distribution or publication, and Fox does not consent to its further distribution or publication. This proprietary material was given to you without Fox's authorization. Fox demands that Media Matters cease and desist from distribution, publication, and misuse of Fox's misappropriated proprietary footage,
Jesus.
which you are now on notice was unlawfully obtained. We reserve all rights and remedies. Meaning, if you don't stop, we're going to sue you. But you can't. And Fox knows that. And I know the good folks at Media Matters. And
Listen, Fox has no, after coming out of that $780 something million I think they need to simmer the fuck down.
they know that. Because this is protected speech. Now, while Fox does claim ownership of any content that airs on their channel or any content that is created to air on their channel, this particular content that has been leaked by Media Matters
Wait, Fox remembers how news works? They should. Ha.
is, of course, not content that was ever
Only when it's convenient, Wolfglen. Only when it's convenient.
supposed to air. It was not recorded as part of a copyrighted set of material. This was just the camera continued to roll as things were happening around the studio. You don't actually have the intellectual property rights to unaired and footage that was unintended to air.
Damn.
So you can claim it's your intellectual property all you want, but I don't think that's going to stand up in a court of law. And even if the claim that it is our intellectual property does hold up, it still doesn't change the fact that Media Matters has First Amendment protections, and you can't sue them for releasing footage that was released to them. Fox knows that. Fox knows that if they chose to go to court and try to fight this, it's a losing battle. You're going to probably, as I said, lose on two different fronts. Media Matters is 100% protected in this particular instance by the First Amendment. I mean, that's why we have leaks to the press. So,
Good luck.
you can send all the cease and desist letters you want, but it's not going to change the fact that Media Matters is protected by the Constitution of the United States. You yourself, network, have tried to wrap yourself in the First Amendment, most recently in the Dominion defamation lawsuit.
Yeah, which, by the way, again,
What you're really pissed off about
you failed and had to pay out $787 million.
is how bad this makes your network look. What you're really pissed off about is the fact that this may give ammo to other lawsuits that your network is still facing. That's what's pissing you off.
Yeah, the Smartmatic one. If Smartmatic keeps to their word, they're going for the jugular. If Smartmatic keeps their word and does what they say they're gonna do, they're going for the jugular. They're not playing around. Supposedly. Okay. I think their statement was something to the effect that the truth matters more than more than settling. I think something to that effect. It's not the exact words, but the implication being is that they're gonna take this all the way. If that is the case, Fox is screwed. The Smartmatic one can take down Fox. I hope so. Honestly, no loss there. It would be a net positive for humanity if that happened.
That's why you're freaking out right now and sending these letters that you know really have no legal bearing on Media Matters. You're terrified.
Smartmatic has to, since they would be out of business without a win. Nothing to lose and everything to get. Damn, what a freaking story. Holy shit. Damn. I hope it plays out for them. It works out for them.
Of what this footage is going to do to you, what it's going to do to those lawsuits, and what it could do to the future of your network. After all, Fox News has been losing viewers ever since the Dominion lawsuit was settled. They're losing viewers because they fired Tucker Carlson. MSNBC last Monday, for the first time in God knows how many years, had more viewers than Fox News. Fox is scared, and they know that if groups like Media Matters keep putting out this footage, things are going to get so much worse for them.
Good. Fuck 'em.
But as I said, I have interviewed for Ring of Fire a lot of the people at Media Matters. You know, I've met the people who founded it many, many years ago. They're very, very smart people. They know what they're legally allowed to do and what they're not. And what they're doing with the Fox Leaks series is protected by the Constitution of the United States. And they know that. Hey, everyone. This is Aspen. And did you know that for the low cost of $0...
True. All right. Yeah, subscribe, whatever, do the thing. Good memes ahead if Smartmatic wins. We're definitely going to keep an eye out on how that turns out.
People want a quick solution. The long-term solution here is to address the mental health issue.
And I hear our governor talking about mental health issues. We're always going to have mental health issues, but if we don't do something about the guns, the people killing guns, then we're going to continue to have the same thing happen.
A first responder on scene to the Allen, Texas outlet mall shooting is rejecting Governor Abbott's excuses for why there can't be more done about gun laws. So I'm going to get to several videos in this segment. I'm also going to break down yet another mass shooting. And while I'm not going to name names because I don't care to publicize the individuals that are behind this, I do want to give you some context about who this person is, what's in their background, the kind of views they espoused, because it helps to inform a lot of this and what's, you know, been going on just generally. But first here, actually, before I even get to breaking down what happened in this shooting, the reason why I cover, even though as much as I hate covering these stories, and I often don't cover them, there's a lot of them I don't cover, I feel like because I am a Canadian, I can offer a bit of a different perspective than your typical, you know, American news commentator, because we don't have this problem. Canada has issues, not perfect, but this issue we do not have, and we are right next door. So any excuses around, oh, it's just the mental health. You don't think other countries have mental health issues? Oh, it's the culture, it's movies and video games. You don't think Canadians, Europeans play shooting games, watch action movies? The issue is the guns. The issue is a total lack of gun regulation. That's the problem. So let me first break down the story. As with CNN here, since I'm not going to read too much about this, but here are their points. 8 people were killed and at least 7 others wounded when a gunman opened fire at Allen, Texas outlet mall on Saturday. The shooter, who was killed by police outside the mall, has been identified as a 33-year-old man. The gunman was armed with an AR-15 style rifle. According to the source, investigators are looking into his potential extremist ties, which I'll get to more on in a second here. And the victims in the attack range in age from 5 to 61 years old. All right. and several more remain in hospital. Okay, I first want to show you this video here. So this is you're going to see an account from Steven Spainhauser. He was one of the first people that arrived there. He was there before the cops were there. His son works in one of the shops in the mall, and here's what he had to say about his experience.
First girl I walked up to was crouched down, covering her head in the bushes, so I felt for her pulse, pulled her head to the side, and she had no face.
But Spainhour says he found a child that survived while covered by his protective mother who died.
And so when I rolled the mother over, he came out, and I asked him, "Are you okay?" And he said, "My mom is hurt, my mom's hurt." So rather than traumatize him anymore, I put him around the corner, set him down. He was covered from head to toe like somebody had poured blood on him.
It's
Jesus.
that awful image that Spainhour and others who witnessed the horror will be haunted by for the rest of their lives.
Because no one can see what they saw today and not be affected by it. It's not a situation that I would wish upon anybody, JD. It's just unfathomable.
Hey, maybe some.
Yeah.
I have a hard time even reading about this, hearing about these firsthand accounts.
I mean, it's bad. Yeah, it's bad. And like to think that like almost 200 of these have happened already. Dankley, how's it going?
Can you imagine actually being in that situation? Can you imagine seeing what these people saw? I think oftentimes that's missed in these discussions around these shootings. It's not just about the victims. It's also about the impact on everybody involved. Whether you were injured, whether you're a family member of someone who was a victim, whether you were there yourself, whether you're responding to it and seeing all the carnage. This is the kind of experience that has a severe impact on people's mental health. Just someone being around the situation, let alone...
I mean, yeah, that's like prime PTSD material right there.
being actually in it. And still, this happens again and again and again. I'm not even sure how many mass shootings there were this year.
Almost 200.
It's impossible to follow at this point, but it's a regular occurrence. It's now a normal thing that happens. Only in America, by the way. Now, more on Spainhour. So his son was sheltered inside H&M. That's where his son worked. He says here, quote, "My son came out, and I want to tell you, to see your son come out with his hands over his head and have to walk past dead bodies, it's not something any parent or anybody should ever have to see or experience. He is now joining a growing chorus of people touched by gun violence across the country who are calling for meaningful gun control legislation." And I'm going to get to more from him in a bit here after I get to the Greg Abbott video. But a bit more on the shooter behind this, because this is also an important piece. He was wearing a tactical vest and also had a handgun, one of the senior law enforcement officials said. More weapons and ammunition were found in his car. At the time of the massacre, he was wearing a patch on his chest that included the acronym RWDS, according to two senior law enforcement.
Yeah. RWDS, which stands for Right Wing Death Squad. Yeah.
Officials, authorities believe the letters stand for Right Wing Death Squad, a phrase used in far-right online spaces, one of the senior law enforcement officials said. So, this is also part of the pattern of behavior we are seeing in a lot of these shootings in terms of their political views. But also, it's also important to point out, this is not just an issue in the US. This is an issue globally. These people exist all over the world. Yet they don't have easy access to firearms. They don't have easy access to a tactical vest. That's an American problem. A preliminary review of what is believed to be the shooter's social media accounts reveal hundreds of posts that include racially or ethnically motivated violent extremist rhetoric, including neo-Nazi material and material espousing white supremacy, to senior law enforcement.
Yeah, so if you want to kind of get like the TLDR of what we're talking about, This is what we're talking about. This is the patch, the right-wing death squad. The cringy Punisher garbage.
Officials said. All right. Now, let's get to Greg Abbott.
Abbott has expanded gun rights. He signed open carry legislation. He's allowed for weapons to be carried on college campuses and in places.
Heavy stuff, yep. Welcome, religious fruitcake.
Of worship. He's issued executive orders bolstering and encouraging the reporting of potential threats. And in 2020, Abbott signed a law that allows Texans to carry handguns without a license or training as long as they aren't otherwise prohibited from carrying a gun.
So, Texas Governor Greg Abbott has only made it easier to acquire a firearm.
Apparently, the shooter was a big fan of Tim Pool. Surprise, surprise. That, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. Was Ben Shapiro also on his list again?
In a state that already has a real issue with mass shootings. Let me get to what Greg Abbott is saying now on Fox News Sunday, where he is responding to the popularity of gun reforms, including with Republicans. So I'm going to pause throughout this since there is a couple of things that, of course, he is lying through his teeth about. But here it is.
Abbott is not Democratic at all. No, I don't think anybody's ever gotten that impression. Republicans, by definition, are undemocratic. The Republican Party as it exists, is fundamentally incompatible with democracy. So, but yeah, that's not the issue being discussed right now.
Senator pointing the finger at you and the GOP there in Texas, saying there are loose and dangerous gun laws. I want to put up a poll that we just had on possible gun reforms here in the U.S. This is just out from Fox News. When you ask people what they would favor, background checks for guns, enforcing existing gun laws, legal age to 21, requiring mental health checks, flagging people for danger to self, all of those score at more than 80%. Are there things...
Yeah, and like most of those, hold on, most of those, with the exception of one, don't even involve banning guns. All of these reforms save like literally just banning assault weapons. All of these and all of these that are 80% and up, which is like overwhelming. Like never mind like 50% and up. Just like 80% and up. And none of those involve banning firearms.
Fox News, when you ask people what they would favor, background...
Alio has it going. I heard two streamers yesterday saying if gun situation gets worse, we may have to leave. I was like, we don't carry guns and kill people. Why should we leave? Well, it depends. %, that a minority, minus Republicans. Well, no, this is everybody. This is everybody, including Republicans. I mean, you have to have a chunk of registered Republicans, not Republican Party. Registered Republicans have to make up. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, okay, never mind. You can ignore me.
Background checks for guns, enforcing existing gun laws, legal age to 21, requiring mental health checks, flagging people for danger to self. All of those score at more than 80%. Are there things that you would consider in Texas or that you think Congress should consider at a federal level along those lines?
Well, on the federal level, as you know, some laws were passed last year to begin to address.
The GOP takes too much cash from the NRA. Yeah, but like it's not just the NRA. It's just that they don't care. It's just that they don't care.
This at the state level, listen, this is something that we've been grappling with over the past year.
I should just note that the gun laws that were passed last year were widely criticized by people that want to see proper gun reforms. So it's not anywhere close to what is necessary in order to, help stop the frequent occurrence of these sorts of events.
And there are some potential easy solutions, such as passing laws that we're working on right now to get guns out of the hands of dangerous criminals and to...
Okay, but a lot of these situations happen with guns that were legally purchased. The problem is that you're not doing anything about that. The criminals who obtain firearms are criminals by definition. That's already against the law. Criminals or people who aren't technically like legally supposed to have firearms, that's not like, that's by default already a criminal activity. If you have a firearm that you're not supposed to have or whatever, that's by definition already a criminal activity. The problem here is that in a lot of these instances, you have people who should not have firearms obtaining these firearms legally. That's the problem.
Increased penalties for criminals who possess guns. But Shannon, we need to recognize a reality. What we've seen across the United States over the past year or two, and that is an increased number of shootings.
Tyrants such as Greg Abbott, of all people, need to really shut up. Is federal gun control the most likely way forward? No, that's not going to happen. Honestly, would there be, could there be theoretically, hypothetically, at least some type of solutions that we could implement right now if Congress wanted to? Yes. Yes. At the federal level, yes. Yes. Will these people do it? No. Will these people do it? No. You saw, like, the polls right there. This is on Fox, too, which is, like, wild. This is on Fox, too. Like, even, like, a red flag law, even anything like that to try to, like, at least put something on the table, is just, like, a non-starter for these people. You can't get a single thing on the table.
In both red states and blue states.
Which, before it goes on, that's the perfect argument for federal gun laws, to do something on a national scale as opposed to doing this state by state. If there's shootings rising across the country, then it can't just be about what individual states are doing. Yet people like Abbott always argue for states' rights.
Shannon, we've seen an increased number of shootings in states with easy gun laws as well as states with very strict gun laws. I think that the state in which the largest number of victims have occurred this year is in California, where they have very tough gun laws, where 11 people died. And so...
Okay, this is so absurd. These are the same people.
Yeah, they know a lot of people, a lot of the GOP based mentally on have a history of posting violent acts that they want doing social media. Yeah, I mean, like, obviously red flag laws would be like a good play, like good red flag laws that actually kind of like narrow down what we're trying to do. Because like, I think there is, to a degree, like in certain areas, red flag laws, but do you think then red flag laws or other, from that poll, will be passed at a state level? It is more likely that it passes on a state level than it is on a federal level. It is more likely that happens, but yeah. Being against gun reform pits the Republicans against Democrats, which, yeah, but that's like manufactured. That's manufactured because you can't say that people are divided on an issue that has 80% support. Like you have to really twist yourself into pretzels to try to like kind of will that one into existence. Like there's no pitting against each other. It's pretty unanimous. It's pretty unanimous, right? Like when you have a policy proposal that has 80% in favor, there is no division there. That doesn't work.
Abbott, I think even in this interview, talks about how this it's all getting so political. He is the one being political here by cherry picking an individual stat from 2023 as opposed to looking at the overall picture of states with terrible gun laws versus states with more restrictive gun laws, even though no state even comes close to what is necessary, because again, there needs to be national laws around this stuff.
Right. Around 80% of the country wants universal health care, but that's also not likely going to happen. True. When it comes to public opinion and parties, often it will come down to less so much what your voters think, but rather what they will act upon. Republican voters might sometimes support gun reform, but they are neither here nor there in regards to adjusting their behavior in response to that. In fact, when there's a bigger chance of Republican voters sitting at home on election day, they try to implement strong gun reform as opposed to them ignoring the demand, and the voters shrug and vote anyways. Good point. Conscious Canuck, by the way, thank you for the tier 1 sub. I don't know if I said thank you or not, but 15 months, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I believe the metaphor I'm looking for is when Hades reaches negative 273 degrees Celsius. Yes, thank you. Alia with the 15 biddies, thank you so much.
This idea that somehow California is worse than Texas is so ridiculous and a bold-faced lie. Here is CNN with
I subbed in the off hours. Gotcha.
States with weaker gun laws have higher rates of firearm-related homicides and suicides. Study.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Fine. So they go on to write here, a study published in January by a leading nonprofit organization that focuses on gun violence prevention found that there is a direct correlation in states with weaker gun laws and higher rates of gun deaths, including homicides, suicides, and accidental killings. The study by Everytown for Gun Safety determined that California had the strongest gun laws in the country. Hawaii topped the list with the lowest rate of gun deaths in the country, while Mississippi led the country with both the weakest gun laws and highest rate of gun deaths. There is a direct correlation here.
Whoa.
Now, if you want to go deeper into this, you can. Here is their study. They rank all the states here. I will link to this below the video on YouTube under sources in the description box. Let's
But on the other hand, it is something that clearly would have bipartisan opportunity if there was actually willingness in Congress to act upon it. Yeah, doubtful. I mean, a couple of Congress people have been shot. Does more have to be injured by AR-15s? Well, I mean, it won't matter.
A little more from Abbott.
They don't
and
care.
Where he puts the blame for these kinds of shootings.
One thing that we can observe very easily, and that is there has been a dramatic increase in the amount of anger and violence that's taking place in America. And what Texas is doing in a big-time way, we are working to address that anger and violence.
Anger and violence. From whom? I think that's a very important follow-up question. From whom? The only thing bipartisan Congress is don't let railroad workers have more sick days. That's about as American as apple pie. Now, where does that violence come from? The anger and violence. Where do you possibly think that could come from? From disenfranchised dudes from all over the spectrum? From all over the spectrum? From all over the from all over the spectrum? Like are you saying like from different spectrum of Nazism? Is that what you're saying? No, I think it's pretty clear where it's coming from. Spectrum of ethnicities and ideology. No, I think it's pretty clear. I think it's a pretty clear tendency. I think it's pretty clear.
By going to its root cause, which is addressing the mental health problems behind it. We know that Texas had been lagging in addressing mental health for years, and that's why over the past 3 sessions, we've added almost $25 billion to address mental health. We're in the waning days of a session right now where we will be adding even more funding, about $3 billion, to address mental health needs in the state of Texas, especially in rural Texas, and especially for children in schools.
All right, so
that's like to bring that up, it's like even like a non, like it's just weird.
I don't know the specifics around what Texas is doing for mental health. I would be shocked if the Republican lawmakers in that state are doing anything substantial.
I wasn't trying to be contentious. I was just pointing out that it doesn't make sense. That's all.
That said, this is not the problem. Yes, fine, invest into addressing mental health, of course. Every country has mental health problems. Not every country has the mass shooting problem that America does. So to try and put the blame anywhere else, as I said at the beginning, and I'm going to get to a response here from that first responder in a minute on what Abbott said here. But
also, like, mental health, like, yeah, obviously, like, it should kind of be par for the course, right? But, like, mental health doesn't make you a Nazi. Okay? Like, having a mental, like, issue or having, like, a mental crisis doesn't make you a Nazi. At least they're not blaming it on video games. True.
Blame anything else is just incorrect and inherently political. They're the ones being political. Being like this idea that talking about gun reform is somehow it's turning, you know, a mass shooting political. Why is the status quo not political? Why is doing nothing not seen?
But can you also acknowledge that every American soldier that stood on Iraqi land from 2003 with a weapon deserved to die unless he surrendered or mutinied? No, because sometimes they don't have a choice. You're going to blame, like, the problems of, like, the broad problems of the military-industrial complex that has, you know, essentially, like, willed that war, that atrocious war into existence. You're going to blame it on an individual person? You're going to blame that on an individual person who may or may not have had a choice? So you won't... No, you know what? Fuck off. Piece of shit. One thing I think isn't talked about enough is that social media isn't doing much at all to stop radicalization. True. But soldiers are permitted and allowed to have weapons like cops. Yeah, well, no. This guy was just trying to be a piece of shit. Like, nowhere in this channel, nowhere in this channel have I ever defended or have I ever been okay with this country's imperialism, this country's history of imperialism. Nowhere in this stream have I ever been like, damn, dude, the Iraq war was awesome and based. Nowhere in the stream has that ever happened. Nowhere in this stream have I ever advocated for imperialism. Or have I ever, like, in fact, I'm pretty sure we've even watched documentaries of, like, the US's involvement in the global south. And how, like, they screwed over everybody over there. That has ramifications that are felt to this day. And then have, like, the fucking audacity to say, like, huh, well, you didn't condemn, like, an individual who may or may not have had, like, no choice in this? Then you must support imperialism. No. No. I watched one Ben Shapiro short on YouTube about Russia and Ukraine. I got recommended lots of anti-SJW. Oh, yeah, that's 100% how it works. The algorithm? Yep. That's a problem. Yeah, he's just asking questions. social media and specific forms of social media are doing quite significant harm to society, particularly to young girls, and we're not really talking about it's being debated among the academics, but it's not really properly in the mainstream. Yeah, that's kind of like what the social dilemma was talking about. I think somebody mentioned it. Religious Fruitcake mentioned it. Yeah. Are states with weakest gun laws just about as dangerous as states that have too many? You're saying the same thing. You're saying the same thing. Profit over well-being. Yep. So basically, what the suggestion was from that analysis, was the looser the gun laws, the more gun violence. I mean, but that just makes sense. I don't think social media is causing the problem as much as highlighting a societal problem that existed for a long time. You think so? You think so? Because I don't know. I think social media is unique. I think. It certainly amplifies it. Yeah. I'm a bit confused on what. I'm waiting for Abbott to ban outlet stores to prevent mass shootings. True. Social media is not causing it, but rather it does. Causing it, but it does spread I think we could argue that, we could argue that social media is causing it because the algorithms drive discourse in a certain direction and drive people towards certain content, right? That they may or may not, they may have not been exposed to in that manner. It's literally, that's why back in the day, I mean just a couple years ago, the whole far right pipeline, that was the whole idea, to kind of illustrate that. It's to kind of illustrate that the far right pipeline is an exact it's a perfect example, is what I'm saying. It's a little more complicated than just gun laws versus gun laws, because some states have low laws that are also super rural, whereas states with strong laws are also very urban, kind of skews the data and really needs good analysis to take part. Yes, that's a good point. You're up the top of your boots again? Probably. Perhaps it's better if you give an example. It might be a bit controversial. It depends. Or, I mean, if you want to give a proper example, that's fine. But, we do have TOS. Anywho.
Seen as being political. If anything, that's being more political. Pretending an issue doesn't exist is inherently more political than actually trying to address the problem. Because in that case, you're actually just playing politics. You're just playing sides, as opposed to looking at what the problems in society are and trying to do anything real to address them. Now, let me get to a response here from Steven Spainhauer and what he thinks about Abbott's excuse.
We used to have an assault weapons ban nationally. We can do that at the state level. We can put red flag laws in place. We can limit high capacity rounds. Like I found a live round next to one of the deceased victims. We can stop putting some of these weapons like M4s and AR-15s in the hands of people who don't need them. And I hear our governor talking about mental health issues. We're always going to have mental health issues, but if we don't do something about the guns, the people killing guns, then we're going to continue to have the same thing happen. It could happen to your family. It could happen to anybody that's watching in any state, in any small town or big city. And until we take some definite actions, we're changing the narrative about it being just a mental health issue.
Right, because it's not just that. Yes, I agree, James Napper. Yes.
Start doing something about the guns.
There you go. It's not a mental health problem. This is a gun problem. Because if it was a mental health problem, then every single country in the world would be having the same problem with guns. And they're not. These stories, man, are so... I don't know. Just very frustrating. They're frustrating. They're depressing, because how many times have I done a video on this stuff? How many explanations have I done? How many times have I broken down what Canada does in terms of gun laws? The restrictions. You can still own a gun in Canada, but there's a process. You have to register. There's a proper background check. There's a 30-day waiting period. They talk to your partner, past partners. They do proper checks. They ensure you're actually, there's training. Like, there's just some basic laws. You could still own a gun in America with those sorts of laws, but it would ensure that these firearms don't get into the hands of the wrong people on such a consistent basis that we are talking about a story like this every single week.
Yeah. He also said mental health didn't kill, the bullets did. Yep. The GOP saying God or mental health issues or problems that killers, but guns. AR-15 makes it easier because many shooters get killed after the murdering of 4 to 12 people. Yeah, obviously this needs to stop. Obviously, 100%. This needs to stop. This needs to stop. We need some bullet control. All right. So that kind of just sets us up where we are here. The gunman behind the second deadliest mass shooting of the year was terminated from the army due to health concerns that may have been driven by right-wing extremism. So yeah, 8 people, including elementary kids, were killed. Elementary students, school students were killed after the deadly attack. And here, as I was saying, dude was a fucking Nazi. Dude was a fucking Nazi. And here we have, like, the absolute fucking clowns on the right immediately. Like, they attempted to do, like, this damage control by trying to say that how could someone who is Mexican be a white supremacist? Fake news. How could he be a white supremacist? Have you seen Enrique Tarrio? He's Hispanic, and he was the leader of the Proud Boys, who currently just got convicted for sedition. So, yeah, it doesn't matter. Maybe you should focus on getting your ratings up before you call a pregnant woman F-head on Twitter, bitch. Absolute fucking clown. Look at this. And by the way, I just selected this kind of like response because this is kind of like the common theme. This is a common theme that the right was attempting to go. It obviously, like, it didn't fly as well because there's fucking pictures, obviously. But this is the right wing's attempt to try to like run PR defense. So this is kind of like what is it called? Not a proxy, but this is kind of like a representation of the sentiment that was going around. I think even like Ben Shapiro made a similar like argument, or someone to that effect. I forget. Echo Wrestle Dragon, how's it going? Yeah, they do exist. Yep, right here. Right here. The scary thing with radicalization nowadays is that when you look at people, it'd be to localize things. They'd come into contact, they'd meet up, but they'd also have someone limited by geography and physical space. Nowadays, you look at any major radical who commits a crime and they're almost exclusively online. They're getting extreme positions from the digital space, not the physical. Yep. exhibit number 475, 4,576 about why I closed my Twitter account. True. Again, no one around him tried to intervene despite all evidence that he had issues that was posted online. Yep. I knew a guy that was Mexican but hated Mexicans. Yep, that's true. That exists. Online space is a better breeding ground for extremism because it thrives on bubbles and has a reward system. Extremity equals clout. Yes, not only that, but you have some kind of level of anonymity, a little bit. And it's easier to connect and organize. And yeah, it's very fast. Extremity positively drives engagement as well. Yep. So along with many other progressives in this country, I believe the right to own a gun. Let's just say that I'm a more pro-gun than some progressives, although I can understand why some people particularly blame shootings on the gun, especially when it comes to, say, assault weapons and the fact that some lunatics have easy access to them. I agree that we need some more funding for mental health. I also agree that we need to keep guns out of the hands of dangerous people, including those who are irresponsible. Yeah, I mean, but none of these are controversial. None of these are controversial. You're with, like, the overwhelming majority of people, progressive or not. The overwhelming majority of the American people agree with the idea that maybe some kind of gun, some kind of like gun reform is necessary. And like, I have firearms too. I don't like to talk about it. I don't like to glorify, and it's not my personality. But as someone who also has firearms, yeah, this shit needs to fucking stop. And like, some type of solutions need to be worked on and need to be put on the table. But like, no one wants to put a fucking solution on the table. And by no one, I mean Republicans. It's not something that like is controversial. Like, everybody, even people who own firearms. Right. It's just like, there's no point. First of all, it's incredibly cringy to see like these amosexuals talk. Yeah, the NRA is cringe. The NRA is fucking cringe. Yeah, it is a super lukewarm stance, is to like ask for some like simple stuff, okay? Ask for some simple stuff that we can't even like put forth on the table. It's just wild to me. And like, the fact that the overwhelming majority of people support like some type of gun reform, like this is coming from like everybody. To have like 80% to be like on board, at least on paper anyways, is pretty massive. And yet it doesn't get done. That person should have never had a gun. This person should have never had a gun. What society has is an acute lack of compassion, introspection, and environmental awareness. Until society reclaims these concepts, nothing will change. I agree. What a fucking phenomenal statement. I like that. Maybe I'm going to steal that and use it. What a phenomenal statement. Not to be conspiratorial, but is that Fox News poll legitimate? I mean, I understand because it's Fox News. I wouldn't say that that's conspiratorial, but I understand the skepticism coming because it's from Fox News. However, the fact that like that showed that the majority of people want gun control on like a right-wing network, I mean, it kind of speaks a little bit, in my opinion. Like, why would a right-wing network, put like results like that? I mean, like, it doesn't make any sense. So it's not that like it may or may not be true, but it kind of speaks to like the point. The point still stands, is what I'm saying. Politicians obviously are responsible for this issue. Yes, they are, and they're not doing anything, which is the problem. We keep talking about it. We know what we have policy proposals that we can do. There are policy proposals that can be enacted, but Republicans don't want to do fuck all. All right, folks. Speaking of domestic terrorism, man, today's a rough one. U.S. seeks 25 years for Oath Keeper founder Stuart Rhodes in seditious conspiracy case. Federal would a Democrat-owned House and Senate lead to policy change? No. No. We had in several occasions, not just like we had in several occasions a supermajority. We had on several occasions a supermajority and nothing got done. Oh man, I laugh because like I laugh because it's the only thing we got. All right. Too much call for quote bipartisanship at that point. Yep. State laws it is. I mean, you can do as someone who if you live in the US, all you can do is what you can with the tools that you have, with the time that you have. And if that means getting out and voting against Republicans, so be it. Do that. Right now, anything with bipartisan support just means regular people get yeah, true. Like, all we get for, like, bipartisanship is, like, hundreds of billions of dollars for war and, like, the bipartisanship of, like, screwing workers. But, yeah. That's about as bipartisan as we get here. All right, folks. Federal prosecutors want founder of the domestic terrorist organization Oath Keepers. They want him sentenced to 25 years in federal prison, writing that members of the far-right domestic terrorist organization were prepared to fight on January 6th, and that Stuart Rhodes should receive a terrorism sentencing enhancement for trying to stop the peaceful transfer of presidential power from Trump to Biden, and keep Trump in office. Sorry. Yeah, because like the whole point of making the definition of terrorism, which we can bring here, the unlawful use of violence and intimidation, especially against civilians in pursuit of political aims, which this was. Let's be very clear, which these people absolutely engaged in. That's why I'm using the very specific term domestic terrorists, because they are. Because they are. They're literally domestic terrorists. I mean, the definition The definition can't be more clear. Congress would need a progressive majority to see what kind of change we're talking about. Oh, yeah, like 100%. We would also need a president who isn't a conservative Dem boomer. Also, good point. Neither of which are in the cards for God knows how long. So, yeah, cool. Great memes ahead, folks. At least 3 election cycle? Who knows? Who knows? And there's no guarantee that like the people that are up and coming are going to be as progressive. You could kind of like, you know, ballpark that they're going to be a little bit more progressive as it goes. But like, man, even I this might be a little like doomer pilled, black pilled, whatever. But like even 3 election cycles seems like I don't know, but does not mean it does not mean we should stop. It does not mean we should stop. Absolutely love Nina Turner. Yeah, she's great. Ah, nice emote. But yeah, the point being is that I use the words domestic terrorism because it fits. Because it fits, and that's exactly the definition. At least public perception is shifting on social issues that should impact the Overton window. Oh yeah, but it's... Yeah, it is. It is impacting. It is impacting the Overton window. It's just like, man, it's not going to be done, you know, anytime soon-ish. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little bit more... maybe I'm just more... not pessimistic, but like cynical, I guess. Heat resubscribing. Thank you so much for 24 months. You've made it to 2 years. Keep telling truth. Keep truth telling, brother. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Welcome. Walter, how's it going? But yeah, so the point, the point being is that, yes, things are shifting, but I don't know. I don't know if I could say, like, yeah, 3 election cycles. I don't know, it just seems, it just seems like it might take longer than that. Given the fact that, like, a lot of these people, are literally going into their 90s clinging on to power. Oh man, it's a struggle. It's a struggle to keep on the more like optimism part of the timeline. Anywho, yes, domestic terrorism. Rhodes should receive 25 years in federal prison, prosecutors wrote in a sentencing memo filed late Friday, while 8 of his co-defendants should receive the prison sentence of 10 to 21 years. Rhodes and fellow domestic terrorists were found guilty of seditious conspiracy in November, while 3 other domestic terrorists found guilty of obstruction of an official proceeding and aiding and abetting. Other members of the domestic terrorist organization were found guilty of seditious conspiracy in a separate trial in January. This is also coming off the backs of the Proud Boys, who were found guilty of sedition. Another domestic terrorist group. Prosecutors are seeking 21 years for Meggs, 18 years for Watkins, 17 years. That's a lot of time. 17, 15, 14, 12, and 10. Rhodes will be sentenced for 25. Last week, 4 members of the other domestic terrorist organization, Proud Boys, were also found guilty of seditious conspiracy, bringing the total amount of defendants found guilty of that rare charge in connection with the January 6th insurrection to 14. So that means 14 people have been found guilty of sedition. When January 6th first happened, I failed to recognize it as a big deal. It wasn't until later I saw it more clearly. Yeah, it's bad. It's pretty freaking bad. The fact that, like, even on the trial, even in the trial, like, the last, like, Hail Mary defense before, like, closing arguments, was basically saying that, like, yeah, dude, Donald Trump basically told me, Donald Trump, like, basically told us to be here and do this. And so we did, so why are we getting punished for it? That's basically the defense. It obviously, I'm paraphrasing it. But yeah, that was literally part of the trial. So, I mean, like, to think, like, if you think about it, just how, like, wild it is that A, an insurrection happened at the Capitol. B, it was inspired, encouraged, and egged on by the former president at the time, to prevent the transfer of power, because the entire time leading up to the election, for months and months and months, that motherfucker kept saying that this election was going to be rigged. It was going to be rigged. If I lose, it's rigged. Okay, that's the only way I could lose. Is basically what he kept, spewing constantly, priming his cult members, into essentially arriving to that conclusion, because, well, when he lost, ultimately, guess what they thought? It was rigged. I was freaked out. Yeah, were you part of the little watch party that we were doing while it was going, like, down? Because I remember a lot of you guys were there. There was actually quite a few of you guys. I don't know if you were in the group, Heat, but there's a lot of people that were watching all of it go down live. Very, very spooky stuff. Zoomers are starting to get politically active, and they're trending more progressive because they learned how to do something no previous generation has been able to. Taking political action in their spare time. Unless they can get a solid financial basis, there'll be a progressive revolution. Maybe, but I can also say that, like, a lot of Zoomers are getting, like, destroyed by the economy. A lot of Zoomers are like, basically, like, well, yes, they're more politically savvy, knowledgeable, they're more politically inclined. Yeah. The economy, the rat race is gonna keep a lot of us in that hamster wheel spinning. Michael Astor is a good mod. Hopefully Gen Z will tell everyone we vote for and what we want. I mean, if they get out and vote, yeah. I mean, if they get out and vote, Gen Z, I think, is 18 now, isn't there? Gen Z is 18. Millennials outnumber the boomers. You were streaming. Yep, I was. There is definitely quite a few of you guys. There's definitely quite a few of you guys here. Which leaves them free to fill all the public sector jobs that everyone forgets about. I mean, true. True. Also, just to kind of piggyback off that, Alio, yeah, apathy is a big problem, but it's also par for, like, the course, right? Apathy is a feature. Apathy is a feature, not a bug. In this system, apathy is a feature, not a bug. As we will shortly see. Prosecutors wrote that the scope and scale of Rhodes' conduct in calling for and conspiring to perpetuate violence against the U.S. government to change the results of a presidential election, which was documented by text and communications during the trial, and retaliate against Congress for certifying those results, merit increasing the amount of time he spent in prison, because the attack was a crime of terrorism. I agree. Defendant Rhodes stands out among the conspirators for the frequency and vehemence which he urged his followers to use intimidation and coercion to influence and affect the conduct of government to stop the lawful transfer of power from President Trump to President-elect Biden and retaliate against government conduct, failing to intercede to change the election result to his desired outcome. Yeah, I mean, like, the threat of violence, is by definition intimidation in pursuit of political aims. Sorry, I'm mobile, guys. No problem. I must say I have mixed feelings about the upcoming generation. I spend a lot of time traveling and interacting with children. Sometimes it's helpful. Sometimes I need a drink. Oh, man. I think I understand. Politicians usually want votes and money. Yes. Politicians usually want votes and money. There's the problem, though, that sometimes that money influences their decisions, thus making our votes kind of useless, if that makes sense. Seditious conspiracy, prosecutors wrote, is an egregious offense for which defendants are rarely convicted and sentenced, noting that very few defendants have been sentenced since the advent of sentencing guidelines, but those who were sentenced typically receive lengthy terms of incarceration. Prosecutors cited a case involving 1993 World Trade Center bombing, noting that the defendants were sentenced under the treason guidelines and received ranges from 25 years to life. Prosecutors also mentioned a 2004 case in which the co-defendants who planned to travel to Afghanistan to fight alongside Al-Qaeda and Taliban were sentenced to 18 years, and a 2009 case in which a defendant who provided material support for a plan to attack targets in the U.S. was given 13 and a half years. Prosecutors said Rhodes used his talents for manipulation to goad more than 20 other American citizens into using force, intimidation, and violence to seek to impose their preferred result on a presidential election, and deserved 300 months in federal prison. Drew, Yellow King, how's it going? Did anyone see Trump's deposition? No, I didn't. I think I caught like maybe small segments of it, but like honestly, I'm just gonna wait until the trial is done and there's results. Because like it's a civil trial. And like let's say that the jury concludes that Trump actually did like sexually assault or rape this person, Jean Carroll. Who here would be surprised to hear that Trump was found like in a civil court, was found like guilty of like rape, or was found guilty of rape and therefore must pay damages? Like who here would be surprised that that's the case? I'm an older millennial, and based on my personal experience, we're not better off than our elders. True. I hope that most of Gen Z are genuinely better humans and more open-minded. Kind of. Not surprised. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise anybody here. If the jury comes back and be like, "Yep, I mean, the evidence suggests that you raped her." I mean, nobody here would be surprised. My generation is no better than our elders. I don't know about that. As not an older millennial, but like on the younger side of the millennials, I don't know. I mean, generally, okay, maybe. I don't know. The court saw evidence at trial of Rhodes' talent at finding and exploiting potential followers, manipulation points. Prosecutors wrote co-conspirators Jason Dolan and whatever other domestic terrorists provided powerful testimony about how Rhodes' framing of that moment in time as a critical turning point in an ongoing battle against tyrannical government gave them purpose and meaning that was lacking in their lives for different reasons. Rhodes' message and speeches were clearly designed to radicalize his followers. Longest sentence imposed for a January 6th defendant has gone 2. Peter Schwartz, a rider with a lengthy criminal record, was sentenced to more than 14 years in federal prison. The prior record, 10 years, was set for sentencing at the former New York police officer, Thomas Webster. About 1,000 people have been arrested in connection with the insurrection, and hundreds more cases are in the works. Almost no defense and tweets about the cases Trump must face. What? Meaning like there's more cases? Yeah, he's not done. He's not done. There's also like, I mean, the serious one, the one that like, it's funny because like, yeah, he's currently being looked at for like some mishandling of documents. Okay, that's really bad. He's currently being looked at for, he currently got indicted for misappropriating or misusing campaign money, which yeah, that's pretty serious, and that should be a precedent that we do not want. As if it's not bad enough already, we don't want to set like a precedent of like candidates just being able to launder campaign funds to do whatever they want with them. But really, the accountability that I'm looking for is his role in the insurrection, and like the idea that like a former president of the United States and the party he belonged to coordinated in multiple states to overturn the election, and that's like barely being like emphasized. Yeah, the Google animation is pretty cute. What's funny is that during the civil case, he didn't have to show up, but in the federal case, he will have to be there for the whole thing. He may be campaigning from court. Yeah, his next campaign ad is going to be shot from the courtroom. Watch SNL make the skit next weekend. Yep. Oh, that's right. The writer strikes. No SNL. Oof. Damn. Can you imagine seeing like an ad in Trump trying to speak like the most broken Spanish from inside the courtroom? Yo quiero ser su abogado. Presidente. Remember, folks, some of you are good people. Thank you. Avocado? I didn't even know if it was supposed to air or not. I did watch, I watch old Netflix shows. Gotcha. If you want comedy, ADT is yes. The Daily Show guy would still be up. Elon. Elon? Have y'all seen Saturday Neoliberalism from Renegade Cut? Nope. Let me not Google it, search it up. Saturday Neoliberalism. Oh,
Liberalism.
Oh, shoot. All right.
Liberalism as a political ideology is based on liberty and equality before the law. Historically, those in favor of liberalism had exceptions on who could receive this liberty and equality, just not as many exceptions as those to their political right. One integral component to liberalism is capitalism, an economic system in which the means of production are privately owned. Classical liberal philosophers stated that since liberalism is all about freedom, then the market must be free as well, even if that market makes others less free. This seems to be a contradiction because of the social...
Yeah, I mean, but that's like a problem with like... That's a problem with like capitalism. Capitalism is inherently contradictory. The writer's strike could very well go down as the rise of independent streamers. Nice! Is it my time? Conscious Canuck, is it my time? I shall begin a script. I mean... Collaboration? Question mark? NBC recalled one of the deals that McCarthy made with Representative Gates, who held back 5 far-right Republicans from supporting McCarthy. Gates demanded a number of votes necessary to vacate the chair, meaning remove McCarthy from speaker post. Gates or one of his allies now have the power to trigger the so-called motion to vacate if McCarthy cuts a deal with Biden that they feel is too quote-unquote them. I mean, but like anything that they would propose would be to anything that would be proposed would be seen as like too democratic, too dem. So who knows what that's gonna result in. I would say yes because I don't want to be banned. True. Rise of the independent streamer sounds like an unorganized sounds like unorganized gig workers to me. Yeah, I mean we kind of are, right? Anyways, this is like 30 minutes long, so I don't know if I have time for this, but I'm going to post the link in chat for those of you that want to check that out. This is what Holy City was referencing. All right, folks. Switching gears. Speaking of which, man, this is yeah. Biden trails Trump in a brutal new poll after 2024 kickoff. Joe Biden seems some of the lowest approval ratings of his presidency as he prepares for his re-election fight against a Republican nominee in 2024. A new Washington Post ABC poll released on Sunday shows the president with approval of a little more than a third of Americans, while he simultaneously trails his 2020 opponent and likely 2024 rematch contender Donald Trump by 7 percentage points. Yeah, this is starting to make me a little nervous, folks. I'm gonna be honest. If this is the case, because, like, let's be honest, Trump is most likely going to be the nominee. I mean, there's literally no one There's literally no one that is even remotely close. Not even Ron DeSantis. So most likely, I think it's pretty reasonable to say that Trump is going to be the Republican nominee. DeSantis is cooked. Yeah, he's like double digits behind. It's not. Yeah, 7 points, folks. This article in contention, but a poll is only a snapshot. No, but it's important to understand where the winds are shifting. Like, yeah, this isn't gospel. This isn't gospel, but it gives Stephanopoulos. Yeah, but Stephanopoulos is a political pundit. You have to understand that, like, I don't believe ABC News poll showing 1/5 believe that Trump committed crimes would still vote for him. Trump literally said I could shoot somebody in Fifth Avenue and they'd still vote for me. So I don't understand why he would say... I don't understand why he would say that. When Trump is back in the mainstream again, I think it will remind people who grew to hate him. I hope so. Is there another option for the Democrats? I mean, Biden isn't the best option at this point. No, he's not. He's not. And the problem is that, like, the Democratic Party can't seem to coalesce, like, around more popular, like, progressive candidates. And we're kind of stuck. Like, the Democratic Party is like, has decided that, in their infinite wisdom, at any point they could fumble something. The Democratic Party has found a way to fumble it. But yes, is Biden the best candidate? No. Is Biden the best option? No. On a new ABC post showing President Biden with the lowest approval rating so far, and 26% independent who support charging Trump in any of the 3 cases, they would definitely or probably vote for him during this week roundtable. Yeah, like, these people are still going to vote for Trump. Like, that's not going to... Trump could be literally guilty of treason. Trump could literally be found guilty of treason, and, like, these people would still vote for him. Okay? And if he wins, yeah. So there's a thought. So there's a scary thought. Someone leading a poll by 7%, by 7 points, I'm sorry. Yeah, 7 percentage points is good enough for me to start being a little bit worried, nervous. Trump 2024 is certainly in the cards. It can be, yes, and that's the problem. I've been nervous since Biden got the nomination in 2020. Not exactly disputing that. It kept me up, and I thought they should wake up and look at these numbers. It's sobering since the coalition that elected Biden with the historic numbers we saw in 2020, the coalition is right fragmented. Yeah, why is that? Like, it's no introspection from these, like, people, from, like, people like Donna Brazile. Are you serious right now? No introspection as to why, like, maybe like the coalition is fragmented because it was a one-time deal where that would work. Okay, you were in a unique position where that Hail Mary was going to work. That's not the case right now. That's not the case right now. You need to start providing receipts and start providing people a reason to vote for. Okay? Because, like, yeah, people voted overwhelmingly against Trump. They wanted him out. Will that happen again? I don't know if you can drum up the same energy. I don't know. Do I believe that Biden could probably win the general election? Yeah. I think that he does have a chance of winning the general election. And I still predict that he's going to win the general election. However, this should be an alarm bell. This should be an alarm bell. The historic numbers in 2020 were in no small part due to COVID and expanded mail-in voting. Yep. Alio with the 12 biddies. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We don't control the political committees. No, we don't. Which is a problem. That's a whole other problem in and of itself. Now that Biden has announced the DNC will never let anyone else primary him. Yes, that's a whole other separate problem in and of itself. That's a whole other problem in and of itself. But I'm saying the Democratic Party, if they want to kind of turn this around, they need to start providing results. They need to start providing results. It's a very poor showing for Mr. Biden, who's seeking a second term on the back of his legislative wins in the first 2 years of his presidency. What? As well as a strong showing by his party in the 2020 midterm election contest that stopped Republicans from taking the upper chamber of Congress. Okay, but that again, that only happened because Republicans were so terrible. And this was also off the back of Roe v. Wade. Also, the historic turnout was only 62% of the voting age population. 62 seems pretty high, but no, it should be a lot. In an alternate world, it should be a lot higher. Providing results would require imagination, which the Dems and the DC are sorely lacking. True, and it's so obvious that like the things that they can do, like I don't know, be more worker friendly. I mean, like that railroad strike was not good, not good. Australia's voter turnout is always 90%. Yeah, I mean, like that's a dream. Can you imagine that here? A lot of GOP voters died from COVID. How much are we talking, and will it sway? I don't know. I mean, counting on that is not good. You need something to vote for. RFK, no. This is not happening. Biden gets a smug, fine, but RFK Jr., no, thank you. Coalitions are easy to build when there's an external focal point, harder to build when you're the focal point. Yep. At this point, if Americans genuinely believe that Trump is as dangerous as they say, there's not many other options. They have to double down on Biden. If there's one thing that electoral autocrats thrive upon, it's a lack of consension. It's a lack of cohesion in opposition. Yep. Yes, really just fruitcakes. Yes. Anyways. He announced his candidacy at the end of April, following months of insistences from White House staffers that he planned to do so amid polling that had shown that during that same time period that a majority of Democrats would prefer another candidate. Like, damn, dude, really? Mr. Biden's approval rating sat at 36% in a new poll in a hypothetical general election matchup for 2024. The president trailed Mr. Trump by a margin of 44 to 38, with a large number of Americans undecided. That's where the money is, folks. That's where the money is. That's where the money is. It really makes me sick it had to be Taiwan, but consider the damage that has been done. The fact that we progressives are becoming louder and more fierce, maybe factless weak Biden will win the election in 2024, and hopefully a real progressive will win in 2028. Oh, it has to be this way. Okay, gotcha. I was like, what? Hold on, I'm lost. Okay, so yes. The 2028 is going to have a... 2028 is going to have potentially a little bit more options. But we're not quite there yet. Trump will probably cook Biden on stage. Oh man, it won't matter. It won't matter. Why do we have to give in to Biden? It's not giving in to Biden. You don't have to like Biden. You can even criticize Biden. Pro tip. You can even not like the Democratic Party at all. Hopefully in 2028, Trump and Biden will be too old. The new candidates will be off. They're too old right now. They're too old right now. They're too old right now. The point being is, this is kind of making me nervous. That's the whole point of kind of bringing this up. And like the Democratic Party, if they really want to win, they need to step it up. This is unacceptable. And like, it's not about the Democratic Party. Understand that, like, where I'm coming from, it's not really about the Democratic Party. It's not about the Democratic Party. It's what happens when what happens when you have a Republican victory. Yeah, it's essentially threat management. I'm making a really long-winded point about threat management because it's not about the Democratic Party. Essentially, it's what if, as we see what happens around the country, I don't want to find myself in a scenario where a Republican controls the presidency and then potentially the Senate, and they already have the Supreme Court. Far left Dems are okay, but what far left Dems do we have? What are you talking about? It doesn't exist. Both sides are imperialists. What are both sides? Who are both sides? An export our version of capitalism? Both sides, so then by definition, there is only one side. What are you talking about? If both sides are capitalist, then they're not left. You can't have a left, no, what you need is to understand, like, what you need is to make a better point. What you need is to make, like, sense. Punctuation aside. That's not even, like, an important aspect of it. You cannot say you're far left and then, make, the assumption that, they're saying they're far left. Oh, you're saying you're far left. Okay. So then why would you vote for RFK? He's not a communist either. It's totally normal for incumbents to poll low, and in modern times, those polls have become a lot more extreme and a lot more partisan. I don't think Biden's numbers are cause for absolute panic yet. I'm not panicking. I'm saying I'm nervous. I'm saying I'm nervous, but I'm gonna stick to my guns and say that Biden's gonna win the general, but it's gonna be a really tight race. It's going to be a really tight race. And that in and of itself worries me, but that's like a separate worry. we're laying worries on top of each other, but like that's a separate thing. Nervousness is good. It keeps people on their toes. Complacency is what will lose it. Yeah, no, this definitely makes me nervous, but not nervous in the sense that I'm going to be like, oh, yep, it's all lost, folks. There's no point. Everybody go home. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm nervous, and the reason why I'm pointing this out is so that people can have this kind of urgency too. Again, this has nothing to, this is separate from like, this is completely separate from even the Democratic Party. I'm just saying I'm not exactly comfortable with envisioning a scenario where you have Republican control of the presidency and potentially of the Senate because they already have the House and the Supreme Court. That's what I'm saying. I want neither Biden or Trump, but I don't see any other viable candidates. Right, because there are none, which is in and of itself a separate problem that we have to like table on top of that. Negative. The moment Kennedy starts speaking, like, no, thank you. What does the doomer timeline with Trump, Senate, Supreme Court look like in brief? Not good. Not good. I think it goes without saying that everyone here is neither Biden or Trump enthusiasts. Yeah, like I'm not a Biden enthusiast. I'm just making the point that it's more scary to have a scenario where it's more scary, and like I don't mean like scary, I mean like genuinely. Have you seen what the fuck would happen? Have you seen what the fuck is happening in these red states? Now take that and play it across the board. Get vaccinations like others get Starbucks. Like, imagine this. Imagine this, but like across the country. Yeah, dude, true. It's just his name. That's what they're scared of. I'd vote Democrat if Kennedy were the nominee, but otherwise I'm going to have to vote red. Yeah, like that tells me everything I need to know, right? That kind of tells me everything I need to know. Damn it, if it's not RFK, fuck it, fascism it is. Dems are going to have to make another scare event if they want to win in 24. With world tension as this high, we simply can't have Biden as leader. Ah, yes, dude. Known tempered leadership, Trump. Yeah, dude. True. Known tempered leadership under Trump. Amazing. Phenomenal logic. Yeah, dude. You know, when I think of temperance and like a good presence on the international stage, damn, I immediately think Trump. Anyways, this is what happens when you would vote, when you get people like Trump in power. I almost spewed my coffee to that one, sorry. Oh man, this is a direct result of Trump. This is 100% a direct result. Yeah, Trump has a way of calming world tensions down. True. Personally, I knew someone who was pregnant with twins many years ago, and she had to get them aborted because of medical reasons. Not saying it has to be Trump, but sure, it's better than Biden. We have to be. Oh yeah, dude. True, bro. Trump is so much better than Biden that this is the kind of headlines we're going to see across the board. Should somebody, and this is the direct result of Trump in power. Amazing logic. Like How is Trump better than Biden? In what sense of the word? You can't give me a good reason. Why is Trump better than Biden? Not a phrase I ever thought to say, but the world's absolutely got lucky with someone like Biden at the start of 2022. Yep. Like, you make these like vague statements. You make these vague statements, but where does Trump cross over the line? Like, by making like shit like this? No, dude. RFK, like, again, there's literally zero reasons as to why anybody would vote Republican. Zero. There should be, anyways, under any rational circumstance. The world was unlucky Boris was in office to end the Russia-Ukraine peace talks last April. As several advocates, as Trump has been more willing to engage in diplomacy with Putin than Biden. I don't know if that's true, and I don't think that it matters because Putin was going to do what he was going to do regardless. I never said I would vote Republican. Who said that? I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about the person who literally said they were going to vote red. No, I'm not saying you did or you would. RFK said he would close the U.S. military bases. Imagine how awesome that would be for Cuba, no longer having... Oh, yeah, dude, true. When the military bases are closed, then boom, Cuba's free. No, man. What a myopic, like, point of view. The world was unlucky Boris's office to end that Russia-Ukraine peace talk last April. Yep. Kim Jong-un hasn't even picked up the phone with Biden in office, and whose problem is that? Do you think he would pick up if Trump was in office? Unless, like, it's to send love letters to him, because, you know, authoritarians really love each other. Authoritarians get along. Trump literally stepped into North Korea. Yes, I just said authoritarians love to get along with each other. Yes. Yes, autocrats love to hang out together. Yes. These are all reasons for the opposite of what you just advocated for. These aren't very, very good reasons. True. So again, why is Trump better than Biden again? Duterte? Yeah, Duterte, like extrajudicial killings Duterte? Yeah. Anyways, none of this is good, is making the case for you, brother. None of this is making the case for you. Other than, like, gesturing to these, like, incidents, is there, like, a policy that you'd like to put down or something? Is there a policy that, like, we can reference to? Because I can think of a policy. It's sitting right in front of me. Biden's approval sat at 36% in a new poll. The hypothetical general election matchup for 2024, the president trailed Mr. Trump by 44 to 38, with a large number of Americans undecided. This is where the money is, right here. At the same time, he trailed Florida Governor DeSantis by another hypothetical matchup, 42 to 37%. Yikes. I don't know if you noticed, but we are quite close to war. Patriotism is dead. Okay, these are not policies. These aren't policies. I don't give a shit. We are closer to war. Whose fault is that? I asked for, like, a fucking policy or some shit. All you're giving me is fucking like bullshit. I don't care. Quite frankly, I don't give a shit about patriotism either. I don't know what weak people means either. I don't know what a weak people means. Yeah, the simulacra, absolutely. Absolutely, that's where we're getting to. Addressing people's needs is good policy. Damn, what a fucking concept. Imagine that. Addressing people's needs. Damn. If JRFK wins, would you vote for him over Trump? I would literally vote for a literal freaking Brock over Trump. It's very simple. I want the Republicans out. I want them fragmented and destroyed politically as much as humanly possible. Okay? All right, we won't talk about conflict around the world. We'll just keep talking about LD. You can't why is it so hard to answer a freaking question, dude? Why is it so hard to answer a simple question? You can't even give me a policy as to why I should choose a candidate over another? You're not making the case at all for Trump at all. This is sad and pathetic. Anywho, I don't understand this. The justification for picking Trump is because he will end wars with diplomacy. He'll achieve this by increasing patriotism akin to war. Prime Minister, yeah, exactly. So he's going to make peace by drumming up for war? Correct. War is peace. Like, these people have absolutely no concept of anything. It's just feels. All this is feels. None of these comments that we've seen, you're right, James. None of these comments that we've seen is literally anything. It doesn't mean anything. There's literally nothing here. None of these comments in any of these. Quite close to war? Whose fault is that? Patriotism? I don't give a shit. Weak people? What does weak people mean? Trump will make good trade deals, diplomacy, and peace, and put America first. True. True. Trump put Cuba on terrorism support list. Yeah, like, also, just to be clear, Red Maze, the closing of Guantanamo, which should have been done 10,000 years ago, isn't going to automatically free Cuba, okay? The problems are the embargoes and sanctions. So I don't understand, like, why I would vote in a hypothetical primary. Like, I don't know. It's just none of this makes sense. All right, listen. The point being is that the Republican Party must be destroyed as much as humanly possible. As a political movement in the country, the Republican Party must be destroyed. A political movement, ideology, or party, in this case all three, that cannot respect bodily autonomy is fundamentally incompatible with democracy and must be done away with in power. It's that simple. Debating and arguing with fascists is a waste of time. True. True. Very true. Trump will solve the international conflict by personally handing every major world leader a copy of his book, The Art of the Deal. True. That's how we're gonna have world peace. Amen. That's how we're gonna have world peace. Every leader in the world is gonna have a copy signed by Trump himself. And that's how we're gonna have world peace. Anywho, its approval rating has dropped 6 points in the 2 months in the post-ABC survey. It's the best deal we've ever had. And more worryingly than ever is the number of Americans with concerns about his mental fitness expected to be a top attacking point for the GOP in 2024. Just 32% of survey respondents were confident that Mr. Biden had the mental acuity to perform his job. The poll noted that 51% of Americans held the same confidence in 2020 when he was a candidate for office. The latest poll was conducted in April 28th to May 3rd among 1,006 adults living in the U.S. A margin of error is 3.5%. On Friday, the president was asked in an interview by MSNBC Stephanie Ruhle why he believes he's the best choice to run in 2024, despite concerns about his age. Because I've acquired a hell of a lot of wisdom. I know more than the vast majority of people. Ah, dude, wow, amazing. Went on to boast on more experience than anybody who's ever run for office, and I think I've proven myself to be honorable as well as effective. Okay. I love to see everyone from both sides having a severe meltdown and beyond. Well, we've seen what happens when the far right has a meltdown. No thank you. I had a copy or donated or trashed it. One of those two. Damn. Anyways, folks, this is definitely something to keep in mind. This is definitely something to keep in mind. And the Democratic Party needs to start doing stuff. Literally anything. The people will speak. Biden and Trump's policy is awful, but if I had to pick between a man that is scary and a man that has dementia, I know my options. Are you sure they both don't have problems in that area? You sure? The oranges of the investigation, confusing family members. I don't know, man. But anyways, yeah, dude. Damn. Oh, Trump. So wait. So we're admitting that it is. So it's the same. So we're admitting that we're on the same opposite fields, except like you'd rather choose fascist. You'd rather choose a fascist autocrat instead. And again, I've asked you for like, I don't know, the third, fourth time at this point for like literally a policy, anything. And like all you've given me are fucking feelings. All you've given me are fucking feelings. You'd rather pick a scary plus dementia than dementia alone. The combination adds a unique flavor. Yeah. Because he's a sadistic narcissist. Well, I believe that. President Bobby is far more scary than Trump. There's a problem with voting for Trump. It empowers the Republican agenda. Yes. And he's he's like the culmination of that. He's like the face of that. He's like the face of that. Anyways. How is Trump a fascist? If you can't see that, if you can't see the fact that he's like has no regard for zero, like whatever semblance of democratic processes we have, he has no regard for that. He literally egged on. Yes, because a fascist is a very specific, authoritarian. You don't. So you agree he's an authoritarian. And you would still vote for him. What does that make you? Oh man. Yes. Anyways, he's a fascist because of many boxes that ticks off. Because like fascism needs to kind of have like a. You need to check off as many boxes as possible, but like a way of kind of identifying like fascist. Strongmen, usually a distaste for intellectualism, and oh look, yeah, here we go. I mean, this guy kind of puts it all into the most concise way possible. But yeah, wait, I'm getting an ad for armored backpacks. Jesus Christ. Anyways, here's a good synopsis of like the fascist kind of points or tenets or elements. The cult of tradition. I mean, that kind of speaks for itself. Quote, one only has to look at the syllabus of every fascist movement to find the major traditionalist thinkers. Nazis was nourished by traditionalist, syncretistic occult elements. I mean, yeah. The rejection of modernism, the Enlightenment, Age of Reason. Pretty self-explanatory. The cult, action for action's sake. I mean, yeah. That's the anti-wokeness, number 2. Yeah, actually, good point. That's a good point. Would you like to see Biden debate RFK? I don't really care. I don't really care. Yeah, should they debate? Probably. Is it going to make a difference? No. No. Number 5 is also anti-wokeness. Fear, difference. The other. Yes. Disagreement is treason. This is the whole idea behind like the Rhino movement. Disagreement is literally treason. Didn't they, like, several Republicans literally made ads of them shooting rhinos? That was like a thing. Clear ticketing by his fascists is important because it would make people on the right take that as they don't care. It would make a difference. It won't. Promise. Promise it won't. I might know why that ad popped up on your end. I mean, yeah. You can kind of take a guess, especially at what happens, 2 days ago? Last weekend? I bet the most of the population doesn't even know RFK is running. Isn't that an RFK problem? If that's the case? The other's just a scapegoat. There isn't real fear, only creating another and getting up fear. Yep. Appeal to social frustration. Someone recently tried to make an example of me for criticizing them. Not exactly considered treason, but disagreement is swiftly punished by kind of harmonizing with that. Number 4. Yeah. That's the whole, like, I'm a little out of the loop. Someone enlightened me on what happened 2 days ago. Oh, the Texas mass shooting. That's what I'm talking about. The obsession with the plot. The enemy is both strong and weak. The enemy is both strong and weak. Remember, the radical socialists, communists, Marxists, Democrats are simultaneously destroying this country, but also snowflakes. What is this that we have here? I'm just running through the 14 points, like basically kind of pointing the fact that like Trump is fascistic. Trump is basically a fascist. And I'm making that point pretty clearly. Right. Migrants, which is like a big talking point, are both lazy and stealing up all the fucking like whatever entitlements that they can't even get from the government, but they're stealing them anyway somehow. Also stealing your jobs, which implies that they're hardworking. So you got to kind of... You kind of have to choose one there. Are they lazy or are they working? So far, these points are behaviors and symptoms of narcissism and psychopathy. Well, these are clearly these are to kind of pinpoint tenets of fascism. That's the whole point of Umberto Eco's like writing this. That's the whole point of him writing this. Pacifism is trafficking with the enemy. I mean, you've seen what Trump has talked about. How Trump had, from the very beginning, and even in the 2016 election before that, I mean, the whole point was a strongman kind of attitude. When people who have those narcissistic pathologies get into power, yep. Contempt for the weak. Yeah. beat the hell out of them. That was a popular clip. Everybody is educated to become a hero. Machismo. Sexism. Rampant sexism. I mean, Trump is currently on trial for rape. So, yeah. Selective populism, or faux populism, where he pretends to speak to the people in faux kind of populist talking points. But really, when the switch is flipped, it's not. If you had to choose, would you pick DeSantis or Trump? I don't know, but I do know that DeSantis is more dangerous. DeSantis is more fascistic than Trump. DeSantis is incredibly dangerous. Like, he's actually worse than Trump. I'd like to remind everyone that there are other offices in your ballot that you have more influence over and have more impact on your life. True! Newspeak. War is peace. I mean, like, if this isn't Trump, I don't know what is. Anyways. So yeah, you'd rather vote for fascism than like not fascism. Cool. Honestly, Abbott scares me the most. Yeah, but Abbott isn't running for president. Abbott isn't running for president. Like, yeah, Texas is fucked. Texas is fucked. But yeah. Bingo indeed. Kingman, how's it going? All right. So this is what happens when Republicans win power. Yeah, he's not going to destroy himself trying to run against Trump, which is what's happening to DeSantis. Gotcha. American politics? I mean, yeah. I do live here. Yes. So this is what happens when Republicans win elections. I bet money Russia would stop being a threat with Trump in office. Nope. That would not have stopped Russia doing what they did, nor would it stop whether he was in office or not, whether he comes into office or not. It really doesn't make a difference to Putin. He doesn't really give a shit. If anything, again, autocrats love each other. If anything, it'd give him more cover. If anything, it would give him more cover. It would help Putin if Trump wins. But again, all of this, you have yet to provide zero policies. You have made no case as to why anyone would vote for Trump. You've made zero cases, not a single policy. But you know what? This right here, is a real consequence it is a real consequence of voting Republican. So yeah, this is a real consequence from real policy that is a direct result from Republicans. Oklahoma woman with non-viable pregnancy says hospital bed told her to sit in the parking lot until you bleed out. Now I'm getting... I don't have a child. Ensure is like, it's for children, right? It's for babies? I don't know, whatever. JC Staten knew something was wrong. The 25-year-old mom from Meeker, Oklahoma, was early in her first trimester. Oh, it's for seniors? Oh. It's for old people? What are these ads trying to tell me? Are they saying I'm an elderly person? For people who want to drink a meal. Gotcha. I drink that shit. Okay, cool. They don't know you. I was doing all the dishes when all of a sudden I felt really sick. It's a good post-workout. Gotcha. I looked down and saw blood soaking through my jeans. Stanton, who has 2 children and shares another with her husband Dustin, tells people she was started screaming for him. The couple had been married for 2 years. I just learned in February that they were pregnant. It's supplemental nutrition. Gotcha. You can't be as old as 40. I'm not. Well, they hadn't been trying to conceive. They weren't opposed to having a baby. Their attitude was, if it happens, it happens. They quickly got used to the idea. We were excited, said JC as a stay-at-home mom who owns a fishing business with Dustin. We started talking about a baby name. We even started buying baby stuff. Now it seemed like the baby's health was in danger. The couple grabbed their 3 kids and headed to the closest emergency room, which happened to be at a Catholic hospital. There, JC was told that she was likely having a miscarriage and that she should go home. You have a terrible diet. Is that what they're trying to tell me? I think they probably should have done more rather than just sending me away, but I understood why they couldn't. Oklahoma has 3 abortion bans in effect, and each of them has different language in describing the medical exemptions, said Rabia Mukaddam, senior staff attorney at the Center for Reproductive Rights. It results in extreme confusion about what constitutes a sufficient health condition for a doctor to provide a medically necessary abortion. Like, yeah, I know I'm talking about yet another case, but honestly, I'm going to keep talking about these stories. I'm going to keep talking about these stories because, like, this is what happens when you vote Republican. A party like the Republican Party, who has absolutely no regard for bodily autonomy, has no business being anywhere near power. Has no business anywhere near power. All the gatekeepers before you even get to the doctor. Yep. Has he made an appointment until the next morning with her OBGYN who did an ultrasound and blood test? It was then that they learned the crushing news. JC's pregnancy was non-viable. Known as a partial molar pregnancy, her embryo had too many chromosomes, preventing it from developing properly. It often happens when 2 sperm fertilize 1 egg. Complications include a placenta filled with cysts, preeclampsia, which is fatal, or can be fatal, I should say, or even a rare form of cancer in which the irregular tissue continues to grow even after the pregnancy ends. In JC's case, she was bleeding because one of the precancerous cysts in her uterus had ruptured. Jesus freaking Christ. Even though her pregnancy was not a viable one and the fetus would not develop properly, she could not get help. Yeah, this is what happens when you vote fucking Republican, okay? And I'm going to keep going over these stories. The thing gives you cancer? Yes, it can. Well, I don't think like the actual pregnancy can, but I think it's like a complication with irregular tissues. It's the Morton with 100 biddies. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Sending cats. Thank you. My doctor said we're in a Catholic hospital, so I'm not supposed to talk about this, but your baby will probably not make it, and this is very dangerous. You only have one option, and we can't do that here. I'm getting you transferred somewhere else. They're talking about abortion. Well, the next week, JC became even more ill as the transfer paperwork was being processed. It had gotten so bad that I couldn't eat. I could hardly walk, and I was really lethargic. Then she began bleeding again. It scared me. It scared Dustin. He took me to the ER at Oklahoma University Medical Center where my papers are being put in for the transfer. After getting more blood work done, JC was seen by 2 doctors, said she needed a DNC, dilation and cuttage to remove the harmful tissue from her uterus. But apparently the ultrasound tech disagreed. I remember hearing the doctors argue with him. They kept saying, you need to look again. They had done a blood test and her pregnancy hormone HCG was extremely high, another sign of partial molar pregnancy. But the ultrasound tech, whom they said was on call and not trained in OB, then why the fuck was he making that call? But okay. Insisted there was a cardiac activity, which because of the cardiac fucking stupid ass fucking bill that Republicans passed, yeah. Oh man, it just keeps getting more and more infuriating. It should be illegal to deny legal medical services. Correct. Yeah, the tech was a pro-life gatekeeper. They might lose their license and get effed by the hospital. I mean, so it's not completely free from coercion from the Met. Yeah, but it's enough like gray area for people to be scared to do like medical intervention. You know, abortions have been legal and free since 1970, communist Cuba. Yeah, well, here we wait until you're almost dead and then maybe, no. They will let the patient take the risk. Yeah, to avoid a lawsuit because we're in a for-profit system. Yeah, of course. They don't want to get, they would rather wash their hands than, you know, be potentially liable for something because of the law that Republicans wrote. So, like, honestly, like, the fact that, like, people like this fucking person in chat would even entertain Glaze, whatever the fuck your name is, would even entertain the idea of ever voting Republican is wild to me. Like, these laws that Republicans have made and have been facilitated by Donald Trump, because, like, all of this stems from the fact that Donald Trump won and made the Supreme Court the composition that it is, which effectively trickled down into the decision of Roe versus Wade being overturned, which trickled down into all these decisions that have happened here. All of this can be traced back to simply Republicans win power, shit like this happens. So, like, it's just wild to me. But hey, you know, it's not Biden, I guess. Hopefully you never have to fucking go through any of this shit. It is evil, because Republicans are evil. But then it had been 1 week since JC learned about her non-viable pregnancy. Then it was transferred to Oklahoma City Children's Hospital, where another ultrasound showed the baby had gone from looking like a bean to a narrow, long shape. You could see the precancerous pocket all the way around. A team of doctors and specialists came and told us there's something we can do according to Oklahoma law. We can't even really touch you. They were giving me medicine every 30 minutes to help with my nausea, but said we can't keep you here just for nausea, and we can't even help you even if you start bleeding again. Unless it's a huge emergency, unless you're crashing in front of us, your blood pressure goes up so high that you're having a heart attack, we can't help you. Essentially, she was not, quote, sick enough. Yeah. What happened in Oklahoma is that doctors are extremely confused about what the condition is bad enough to provide an abortion. Right, which is the point. Which is exactly the point. Says McCondom, who worked on No One Could Say report showing that all Oklahoma doctors and hospitals are hamstrung by these laws. Republicans are lawful evil, the worst alignment in DND. True. And the effect of this confusion and chaos is combined with extraordinarily draconian penalties. So if a doctor makes the wrong decision, they could be subject to a 5-year prison sentence or lose their medical license. No, it's the law. It's the law, because if they perform an abortion, then they're fucked. Yeah, we're in a very tough... No, this isn't tough, bro. This isn't tough at all. This isn't tough. This isn't like a tough decision here. There's like literally... there's nothing tough about this. I want these people gone from office. People who are this fucking cruel don't need to be anywhere near power. People who don't respect people's bodily autonomy can't be in power. They should be in the furthest part away from power. The fact that you're even making that, like, attempting to make that connection, we're in a very no, we're not. Like, this is only one side, dude. This is one side. Clearly, there's no if, and, or buts about it. This is Republicans, period. And they should not have power over public policy, full stop. True. JC remembers the doctor's ultimate word, quote, "The best advice we can give you is to go sit in the parking lot until you bleed out, and we'll be ready to help you when that happens." Yeah. The logical outcome of their beliefs is eugenics. Fuck them. Yeah, like among, like, it is just fucked in so many ways. Like, there's no reason why, like, any empathetic person would look at this and would be like, yeah, I'm still voting red. No, I've never worked for any news organization. There are more ways to vote than the ballot box. True. If red flag laws are 80%, then abortion is only 50%. Like, abortion is also pretty popular. Unless you count your modding for other channels. True. I asked her, why did you throw the papers away? Don't I need them? And she pulled a huge trash can and says, I want you to look at this. It was completely full. She said, you're not alone. This trash can is filled with papers of other women that also didn't have a choice because Republicans. But also, hi, Carlos, I hope you're not letting, you guys are not letting this stuff get you down. No, it's infuriating. And it should be angering to everybody. And reading this stuff, and I'm going to keep talking about it, and every time I see a story like this come up, we're going to keep talking about it. Like, the fact that anybody would even entertain the idea of voting Republican after knowing this kind of shit, after you can make this, and I can even extrapolate all this argument from the beginning of what I'm talking about. When I say, like, a party that cannot respect bodily autonomy fundamentally is incompatible with democracy, and therefore should never be allowed anywhere near power. Because, like, you see what these people have done. You see what the Republican Party has done. Literally orchestrate, in multiple states, efforts to overturn an election, a presidential election that they fucking lost, is wild to me. The fact that, like, only Republicans, this is only them, are literally engaging in insurrectionary behavior. Only Republicans have been fucking charged, tried, and convicted for fucking sedition in this whole, like, 2020 election debacle. So to extrapolate all of that is just to say, yeah, dude, Republicans are fundamentally incompatible with democracy, and they just need to be removed from power. I don't believe there are laws that says they cannot be treated for pregnancy. I think the hospital effed up. No. The law of the state says you cannot perform an abortion unless, like, conditions are met. But the problem is they can't define it properly, so who knows, in the eyes of, like, medical professionals, because they're fucking medical professionals, what life-threatening means. At what point do we cross that over? So no, I don't think that was the hospitals effing up. I think it's because the chilling effect that these laws have been passed have created this scenario, have created this environment. Only Republicans think that the 6th is a tourist visit. True. That's why a lot of OBGYN are leaving red states that have passed these policies. Yes, and right, and understandable, but also further exacerbating the problem. Further exacerbating the problem. So anyways, no, it's not. In that same article, the doctor points out that, like her, there's a trash can full of other people who didn't have a choice either. who didn't have the ability to make a choice. So honestly, like, TLDR, like, fuck you for even like for even entertaining the idea of ever voting Republican. Like, why would you even consider that? Knowing that this is the kind of damage that they do. Like, real damage. Not some ephemeral, well, I think, nah, fuck that. Real stories. From real policies that were enacted. I mean, you got to be on some kind of, like, sadistic... Republicans are enemies of liberty. Yes, they're literally fundamentally incompatible with democracy. These stories were very rare before Roe v. Wade. Now these stories are everywhere. Yep, welcome to the new norm. When Republicans win power, this is what happens. This is literally what happens. Anyways. Food for thought, folks, as we see how close this election is going to be. All right, folks, I got to get going. I got to eat some dinner. It's funny to see them. Yeah, I know. It's all like, it's all feels. It's all feels. Nothing there. Nothing there. I still haven't gotten a single policy, not a single policy as to what we're, what we're looking at here. Also, F the Dems for not codifying Roe. Yes, true. True. So GOP thinks anti-abortion means kill the mother and baby. They don't give a shit about the mother. It's never about pro-life. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. Republicans are traitors and Dems are spineless corporate weasels. Yes. But to be fair, so are well, at least Republicans own that they're corporate weasels and they think it's good. But yeah, no, I'm not. No, thank you. Traitors to what? To the working class and to the people. I say they're actually upholding what this country was founded on. Yeah, but like, I'm saying they're traitors to the people. And I'm saying they're traitors to the working class. Or maybe I'm misunderstanding. Unless Biden legalizes cannabis, I will not be voting for Biden. Not that it matters. Got glazed to vote Dem? Yeah, okay. True, dude. Yeah, I'm sure that when the time comes and it's gonna be Biden, he's gonna vote red anyways, because like that's how these people are. Enjoy your dinner. Thank you. I appreciate it. Honestly, I like RFK a whole lot more than any other current candidate. But it was founded on white men owning white male property owners, supremacy, and founding fathers with the original ANCAPs. True. At least he's talking about intelligence agencies. I mean, yeah, but that's like, I don't know. I don't know about that. We still haven't dealt with JFK being murdered by the CIA. Trump gaining support in the polls and negative policy. Abortion has effing people in red states. Yep. They are a foreign policy. I mean, I'm not going to debate that. I know that they definitely have their hands in all these places. Yes. Watch JFK Revisited while eating dinner. I mean, that's still not going to make me vote for... Like, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because I could vote for Marianne Williamson or whatever. It's not going to change the fact that it's going to end up being Biden versus Trump, and then you're going to have to make a decision. Like, does that make sense? It's going to end up being Biden versus Trump. I don't like it, but that's the situation that we're going to end up being realistically. And, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Rising fascism, not cool. Fascism isn't cool, okay? I don't concede that. Oh well. Reality doesn't really care whether you concede to it or not. Reality will continue. And that's just the way it is. Even if it means Biden and Trump wins, that is how they get us every time. I know. And it's fucked up. It seems you like Biden. Nope. Never said that. It depends on who your founding fathers are. Mine are Ida B. Well, Denmark Vesey, John Brown, Frederick Douglass, and Thomas Paine. Well, I think they meant colloquially. Nope, I've never claimed to like Biden. Sounds like the opinion of someone who will do just fine under authoritarian white supremacy on steroids. True! I will say loudly what Republicans are afraid to say. F Joe Biden. Yeah, like, dude. The point was never about the Democratic Party. I hope that's clear. The whole point was never about the Democratic Party. I think Glaze knows you never claimed to like Biden. I think he's just foaming at the mouth. Probably. He has no idea. Or maybe he does. Like, despite, like, knowing everything in front, despite putting everything in front, like, you would still vote red. Like, how fucking fucked up do you have to be to, like, understand, like, the ramifications of Republicans winning and then being like, yep, but I'll still vote red. Okay, dude. Whatever. Anyways. Yeah, it was just to stop another Trump term. That's literally, like, the only reason. It is even, like, strategic. The only reason to even strategically entertain the idea is to simply, like, I don't know, man, push the fascism back a little bit. Like, overt fascism, at least. Like, damn, dude. None of us like voting Dems, at least not a... Yeah, nobody here is like, oh, dude, you know what? I'm like, not a lot of people are, like, proud of being like, yeah, I'm gonna vote for Biden. No, dude, I'm just trying to fucking get rid of, you know, I'm just trying to, like, slow down the fascism train. That's it. That's it. And, well, while voting isn't really, like, the end-all be-all, it's certainly a tool in the toolbox, so I'm gonna take advantage of it. Yes. I'm gonna use it. That's my logic. It's that simple. Turns out, I don't really like fascism, so I'm going to use one of the tools that I have available. And, yeah, I'm going to vote against it. It's that simple. Anyways. Yeah. Alright, folks, I got to get going. As always, if you guys enjoy the content, make sure you hit that follow button. It really does help us out. Make sure you join us on the YouTubes. Hit the big red subscribe button. It really does help us out. And, spread the word far and wide. We're here Monday through Thursday. What about people yelling at the RNC and DNC for not picking new people? Yeah. Protesting is another form, is another tool in the toolbox. Yes. I just voted today, school district and a couple of ballot measures. Good. That's very important. Even as a communist, voting is the only method here. It's not the only method. It's not the only thing you can do. I'm saying it's a tool. We're here Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you hit the follow button, do all the YouTubes and the social medias and all that other stuff. As always, folks, thank you guys. You guys are what makes this channel grow. Thank you for all the subscriptions. Thank you for the biddies. Thank you for the follows. I appreciate that. You guys are what makes this channel grow. As always, have a good night. You too. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. See ya. Thank you, Heath. Thank you, Michael Hasser, for keeping it cool in the chat. Thank you so much. Also, folks, don't be afraid to go follow some of the diamonds in chat. There's Alio, Carpet Packs. There's a couple of folks in there. Don't be afraid to go follow them. Thank you. All right, folks, hang tight. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See ya.